So we are going to begin this evening by lying out on our backs. So find some space and let yourself just drop into the earth. And I'll just do a few more little technical things while you settle. Muted, everyone's muted. Wonderful. Lovely. So find your first comfortable position. Now, for some of us, that'll be with the legs bent, so the lower back can settle. Others will be feeling ready to extend the legs. So once again, I'm really encouraging you to listen, take care, and adapt so that you're looking after yourself with every breath. So let's take a few moments. As soon as you feel you're able to settle, after you've made all your arrangements, allow yourself to come into a sense of stillness. So a very calm sense of being still, being present, that we have enough, we do enough, and that we are enough, even just like this. So just enjoying that sensation of being enough. And gradually feeling your body settling and releasing, allowing the weight of your bones to drop into the earth. This sense of being held and allowing, surrendering to that being heldness. So you might like to be aware of your feet, whether they're flat on the floor or your legs are long. Just feeling into your feet and allowing them to be as soft as possible, into your ankles, into your calves. So maybe they're spreading into your mat or dropping if the legs are bent. And it's almost like you're taking the breath into all these areas of your body as a sense of nourishment, of care. The connective areas where the joints, the bones connect with each other, into your knees, releasing your thighs. And breathing into your hips, the bowl of the pelvis, the organs nestled there. Feeling the weight of the back of the pelvis dropping, releasing into the ground. And continuing this awareness up through your spine, up through your back. Finding the top of your back. And from there, softening your shoulders. Giving your arm bones to the earth, all the way through to the tips of your fingers. Feeling that the neck has space. So you might alter the position of your chin in order to feel that freedom and spaciousness through the neck. And the beautiful weight of your skull. Until you come to the top of your head, and then allow this releasing sensation to come through the front of your body, through the forehead, through the temples, the jaw, softening the throat, the collarbones, releasing the chest. Into the belly, back into the pelvic bowl and down the legs. Back to your foundation, to your feet. Pausing here for a moment and simply being. And then becoming more specifically aware of your breath. Where do you feel your breath move in your body? Do you feel the cool air entering, the warm air leaving the nostrils? Are you feeling the expansion of your lungs, the rise of the belly, whatever it is? Just take a few natural breaths, connecting the breath to your body in your way. Lovely. And the next time you exhale, just allow yourself to drop into the end of that exhalation. And now, as you're inhaling, feel that sense of rising. And as you continue to inhale, a sense of expansion. And then maybe at the top of that inhalation, a little still moment before you exhale, and there's a sense of releasing, of letting go, of returning back into the earth. So, like the cycles of our lives, the breath can be a cycle, a continuum, that inhalation, the rising, the expanding, maybe a little moment there of stillness, and then the exhalation, a releasing, a descending, a returning back. And one of the ways we can see the cycles very clearly in our lives is through the seasons. So that inhalation could be like the rising of the spring, and that top of the inhalation, the expansion of the fire in the summer, and a little moment there of late summer before the autumn takes us back down with that exhalation, back down into the earth, into the seed of winter. And maybe there's a little pause there. So let's call this like a seasonal breath, really tuning into the cycle of the breath, and also how that echoes into the seasons, where we can see the cycle clearly. There are many cycles: the day, the elements. Taking a few more lovely, long, deep breaths, rising, expanding, pausing, releasing, returning in your own rhythm. Now, if you've practiced with me before, I think everyone has, of course, in our yoga practice, we breathe in and out through the nose, although I'm very keen that whenever the body needs to sigh or to stretch the tongue or breathe through the mouth, you just go right ahead. So this is very much your session. So let's settle here for a moment, and then start to bring your feet, make the legs long if they're not already, and start to take them away from each other. They can be as wide as the mat, if not wider. And take the arms out to the side, possibly a little bit higher, and just have this sense of being a pentacle, 5 points through one leg, the other leg, and through your arms. So it might not be comfortable for you to take the arms high at the moment. Make sure the neck stays long, and allow that breath to move into the 5 corners, the 4 corners and the top of the head, breathing and expanding and feeling the body spreading into the earth and being held. Just be with the breath and the shape of your body for another moment or so. And then from here, let's bring the legs back together. You can keep the arms out by the side, or maybe you take them a little bit higher. Even the hands could touch if that feels good. And we're going to walk both of the feet towards the left bottom corner of the mat. And you'll start to feel a bend
through the right side of the body. And then let's take the upper body also towards the top left corner. And we're going to stay here for about a minute. Sometimes it's quite nice to hold the wrists or place one foot over the other so that you're pinning the ankles down. This isn't necessary, but sometimes we can find the binds enable the body to soften. So this is what we're seeking in our shapes, that we release. We're going to keep releasing, feeling that gorgeous tugging through the right side of the body and staying with the breath, whether it's that seasonal breath, the rising, expanding, the still point, the descent, and the returning, or another pattern of breath, as long as it's conscious, or letting it be very natural. Let's take a couple more deep breaths, opening up the right side of the body. And when you're ready, let's bring it back to the center. So walk your legs back, walk your upper body, and if it feels good, take that pentacle shape again. And let the front body soften down. You could come into this and not be aware that one part of your body might be lifting away from the earth. So then you notice it and you, oh, let go, let go, let go. Shall we prepare for the other side? So let's bring the feet nearer to each other, the hands a bit nearer to each other. Walk both feet towards the bottom right corner of your mat. Feel that curve. And then take the upper body, including the head, towards the top right corner. Once again, maybe catch your wrists or place one foot over the other. And we're going to stay here for another minute. So you have lots of time to simply be. And of course, your shape doesn't have to be the most extreme that you've ever done. Let's practice with awareness and kindness. This is the value of our practice, actually. To feel that freedom, to inquire, to ask, how are you? How is this for you? Like a very good friend. Be your very good friend. Let's take another deep breath here. Let's bring it back to the center and take the feet as wide and the arms as wide as you wish to. So you're listening to the body because your legs might want to be nearer, and that's fine. Settle yourself. Feel the difference that you've already made within your mind, your heart, your being. Very gently, let's start to draw the thighs into the chest in preparation to begin a little movement. So you could bring one leg up at a time, which is the least stressful for your back, and maybe move your legs a little bit. So you could separate the knees to make circles, or you could keep them together, or you could lift your head, whatever feels natural for you. So quite a lot during this session, I'm going to make suggestions, but I really want you to guide yourself. When you feel ready, without thinking which side is best, roll into one side into fetal position. So we don't even need to think, we just let the body take us. And let's make this fetal position very cozy. So let your knees come quite near to your face so your spine is round. So intuitively, instinctively, the spine acts like a shield now, and you can let the organs soften: your heart, your lungs, your belly, the tongue, the jaw, not just the organs. We'll stay here for a moment, and that underside of your body is dropping into the earth, and the upper side of your body is releasing. Just scanning through the body.
So we want to maintain this sense of release even as we're going to start to come up halfway. So make your top leg go a little bit longer. Come on to one of your hands, the upper hand, and pick yourself up a quarter of the way and let the head drop. So let the head go. And then we're going to roll through the center and take it to the other side, very casually, and just, you're going to find your own shape here. So you can choose how low to the floor you go as you roll from side to side. Or you might like to stay a little higher. Now this will determine where, because basically we're twisting. You might like to lift the other arm up. You might like to swirl it. So there's all sorts of things you could be doing. You could be really spreading the toes and massaging through the edges of your feet, whatever you like. Gorgeous. Now, again, let's not think too much about this, but when you're ready, just take yourself onto all fours for a cat-cow position. And you can start with the wrists under the armpits, knees under the hips, and take a little movement here. In fact, we could pad our palms as if we're cats purring and just let the palms lift and drop and lift and drop. Nice. And when you're ready, take it into any cat-cow variation you like. So sometimes it's nice to be central and take a more traditional back and forth. And sometimes it's nice to take it away from the center and move the pelvis, move the neck and the shoulders. So we're going to stay here, moving on the all fours, nice and gently with your breath, in your own rhythm. Very nice, lovely, gorgeous. Good. You might even lift one arm up and have a little twist. So be free to explore what's happening with the body. Now you can stay on all fours, or if it feels like a great idea, take yourself into a soft down dog. So that might be nice, just to start to ease into the legs, start to open the chest area. So you might tuck toes and lift the pelvis up and back, and here you might still be moving. If you do not wish to do this, just stay with the knees down and keep moving. And we'll take another moment here. Gorgeous. Yeah, just playing with it. Now over the next 4 or 5 breaths, let's come into a half standing but with the body bowed over. So bring your wrists and your toes nearer to each other and let the head go. Now if this is too intense with the head this low, just take it up a little bit and have your hands on the thighs. Otherwise, whichever position you've chosen, this position of releasing, of letting the head go, we're going to stay here for a little bit longer than we normally do in our more yang style class. Dangling, we call this in yin yoga. So dangle, let your whole body dangle. When I'm doing this, I love to imagine the breath coming up through my feet, up the back body, and at some point, there's a descent from somewhere in the back, like a waterfall falling down the back and through the head, and you can imagine any troublesome, worrying thoughts that are no longer serving you. Maybe they get washed out with that waterfall and the breath, and it can start to feel like another cycle. Wonderful, making your own moves, I love it. Brilliant. We'll take a few more moments. This is strong on the backs of your legs. We're stimulating the back body, which we're going to go into further shortly. But
If you are dangling still, take your time to come up. So I suggest a possibility of softening the knees and coming a little bit higher up, letting the arms be heavy. We're going to take our time to return. And it's very nice sometimes to take your time and then finally, very consciously, bring your head up on top of the spinal column. And let's take a moment here. Feel the feet really grounded. You could close your eyes for a moment. Maybe one palm is facing forward, the other back. We're not aiming to be symmetrical or force ourselves into any particular shape. We're observing. You might start to feel the energy within, the oneness. In the Taoist philosophy, this is the space of Wu Ji, which is everything and nothing. This is our connection with the universe, to be everything, to be one. And all the cycles are simply aspects of that oneness. Great. So from here, let's say you're facing forward, and I would just like you to take a moment to have this sense of forward facing to your north. And as you forward face to your north, this sense of winter and an opening to the winter. And as we move through winter, we'll turn to our east. So turn your heart and your chest a little bit, or a quarter to the right, and a sense of the east, the rising sun, spring. This is the elements in the 5 elements of wood. So the wood, the growing of the trees, of the flowers. And then turning to your south, so that'll be the opposite direction to your north, but I'm going to still face forward. So opening to the fire element, the heat of the sun, the expansion, the same as with the breath, the rising through spring, the expansion of summer. This is the fire element. And then before we turn a quarter to the autumn, there's another phase, which is the 5th element. At the end of summer, late summer, is the element of earth, where maybe the harvest has come in. You know that feeling where, what is this? It's not quite summer, but it's not yet autumn. There's this still point, like the breath, a little still point. Before we turn to our west, to the autumn, embracing the autumn, the metal element, opening to the west, to the sunset, and then let's return back, a returning back to the earth, to the winter, and this is the water element. So we're going to take the same moves, we're going to vibrate the mantra Om. Om is the creative consciousness, it's the creative force behind all. So we're going to be opening up and sweeping the arms up, and then as we draw the prayer down, either you can exhale or sound Om. So let's return again to this sense of opening to the creativity of winter, which is all about being restored, returning, preparing. So inhale to sweep the arms up. And out of winter comes the spring. So let's turn to our east. Potential, new life beginnings. Sweep the arms up to inhale. spring moves on, it moves into your summer. So turn to your south, embracing that fire element, opening the heart, the expansion. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And let's visit the late summer, just a little bit west of south, opening to that earth element, to the nourishment, to the harvest. Sweeping the arms up as we inhale. And turning to our west and really embracing this sense of releasing, of letting go. Inhaling, sweeping the arms up. Once more, back to the cycle of winter, the nourishment, restoring. Inhale, sweep up. Releasing for a moment, let the arms drop by the side. In yoga, we would say we were in mountain, Tadasana. And feeling the allness of you, the aspects of you that make the whole. So we're going to take a little adventure up through the body, and I'll be mentioning different areas of the body. So we're going to be inhaling to the area that we land, and then I'll mention another area of the body, and you can either breathe in up into that area or you can sound. I'm going to hum, so you can choose whether you're going to sound or breathe. Just going to point out a few places, just in case there's any confusion. I'll be mentioning the kidneys. In fact, let's have a little tap into the kidneys as the weather gets cooler. These are the organs we need to look after in traditional Chinese medicine. Oh, lovely. Nice. And I'll be mentioning the perineum, which is between the genitals and the anus. So let's take a little moment. If you're sitting, you're sitting. If you're standing, you're standing. It's all good. Take a few deep breaths. In fact, let's just drop our attention beyond our feet into the center of the earth. And imagine we're inhaling to the center of the earth. And as we exhale, we're traveling up to the soles of the feet. Let's take our attention back to the center of the earth. Inhale. To soles of feet. Exhale. So I'm going to continue now, and I'm going to sound. To the center of the earth. Inhale. Soles of feet. Exhale. Inhale, soles of feet. Ankles, exhale. Ankles, inhale. To knees, exhale. Knees, inhale. Hips, exhale. Hips, inhale. Perineum, exhale. Perineum, inhale. Belly, exhale.
Belly, inhale. Back to kidneys, exhale. Kidneys, inhale. To heart, exhale. Heart, inhale. To throat, exhale. Throat, inhale. Roof of mouth, exhale. Roof of mouth, inhale. Base of skull, exhale. Base of skull, inhale. Top of head, inhale. Top of head, inhale. To heart, exhale. Heart, inhale. Soles of feet, exhale. Soles of feet, inhale. Center of earth, exhale. Inhale, center of earth. Exhale to top of head and beyond and above. Inhale above the head. Exhale back down to center of earth. And when you've finished your exhalation, pause here for a moment, resting, being, feeling. So let's bring ourselves back into sitting. And so here is where you can have your cushion or your blanket, whatever you have to hand. And we are going to come into a seated forward fold. So if you're in your chair, you can still do this. Sometimes it's nice to have your cushion so that your heart can rest, or you might like to place something under your knees. So find your position now, and we're going to fold forward. Sometimes it's good to have something under your head so that the neck feels secure. And now we're going to stay here for a few minutes. So find your position. And I'm actually going to time this so that we know what we're doing. Good. So releasing forward. We're starting to stimulate, heal the kidney channel, the urinary bladder channel. These are the organs we associate with winter. The ancients, the same as in our yoga practice, the ancients observed nature. So we're releasing, we're going into that quietness, that stillness, releasing the back body. This sense of letting go of nourishment, of nourishing the kidneys. The kidneys can be associated with fear. So simply being here, letting go, allowing your breath to be free and again to nourish a sense of acceptance, of resilience, being able to withstand the darkness, the cold. So the kidneys are a store of energy. We're letting go. We're staying a little bit longer. Notice the mind. What resources you have to maintain this shape and to be able to let go, to surrender. Building your courage. Let the breath flow in its own way. If there's any moment where you want to sigh or sound, whatever you need to do, it's all good. The quality of water. The water flows, the water can be still. Coming towards the last part of our hold here. Feel your courage, your tenacity. And taking the last few breaths here. Nice and steady, nice and slow. Inhaling and exhaling. And one more long, deep breath. Taking your time. And after your next exhalation, very gently start to release from this forward fold. You've stimulated and stretched through the back body. And now we're going to come upright. Take your time to come upright. And take your time to feel any changes, any movement, any shift, however subtle. And today we're going to weave the vowel sounds through our practice. This is a practice called toning. So the first vowel we're going to do is the oo sound. And we direct this oo sound into the lower body, into the colon, into the reproductive organs. So we'll vibrate this. Let's say we'll do 3 times to begin. So the note I choose might not be your favorite note. So we can't hear each other, you can hear me. So I'm going to suggest a note, but then we'll do it twice more and you take a different note or for a different length of time. So but the main thing is that we keep attention
as if we really are like a massage. We're taking that sound into that area of our body. So let's begin inhaling for oo. Inhale for oo. And then one more. I won't do this one, so you can pick any note. Inhale when you're ready. And sounding that oo into the lower body. Ooh. And then simply being with the vibration of your sound, relaxing the belly. And then to repeat this movement that we've already visited, we're moving from the winter into the spring. So now we're going to move the legs. They don't have to be super wide, but we're going to extend them. The feeling here is that we want to have a sensation between the inner knee and the groin. We're stimulating the liver channel in this pose. So feel free to stay upright. And if you're not feeling anything, you could take the legs a little wider. You could tilt yourself forward. You could have your cushions in front of you. So we're going to stay here for just under 3 minutes. So you've got plenty of time to feel into this. So in spring, as I've already said, this is the element of wood. This is a rising up from the earth. The seed is rising, growing up through the earth, stimulating through this part of the liver meridian. The liver channel. Sometimes associated the liver with anger. And of course we have lots of thoughts about how angry we should or shouldn't be. And of course we can misdirect our anger, but anger can be a force for change. It can galvanize us like the shoot, determined to move through the soil. So that's another way of seeing it. Just keep breathing. The sense of stretching through the groins, through the inner thighs. Halfway through our hold here, you could relax your ankles. You could relax your knees. You could relax the buttocks, the belly, the heart, the shoulders, the jaw. And we're staying for just less than 1 minute here, so if it feels good, you might like to go a little deeper, or if it feels better, you back away for the last 45 seconds here, breathing. Spring is a time of growth, of potential, of new life. So we could even think about, even though we're in our autumn to winter here in this country at the moment, the aspect of the morning, of the sunrise, of new projects, these can still come into play. Last few seconds, let's take a lovely deep breath in. And a wonderful deep breath out. And then very slowly, slower than you think, if you're tilted forward, bring yourself more upright. Feel the both sitting bones down into the earth, and then take the time to gather in your legs. Now, we're also going to stimulate for spring the gallbladder meridian. So let's take the left leg in front and the right leg. So it's a little bit like let's have the lower left leg in front and the right behind. So what we want to do is feel this in the glutes, in the gluteus, the left glute. So if we're not feeling it there, we might have to extend that back leg and be more in a swan. So see what works for you. So you can have that back leg bent, or you can keep it long. And let's start to breathe into the pose. So now you might stay upright, or again, you might take your cushion and you might come forward. So you want to be feeling some lovely, but very aware of a sensation through the left gluteus here. So this is one of the areas that the gallbladder meridian travels through. This is the other organ associated with spring. So this is often why we do a liver cleanse in spring. The specific organs actually is a great time, different seasons to tend to different organs, and they can be more readily cleansed and balanced. Yes, you can take your cushion under that buttock if you're sliding too far to the left. Staying here. Good. And breathing deeply. Staying with your breath. Keep breathing here. Just allow the mind to be quiet, to feel into sensation. And now we're going to stay in this shape for another half minute. So keeping your focus, the last 20 seconds. So when you're ready, taking a lovely deep breath in and a breath out. And if you've lowered the body, lifting it gently up. Returning to a more neutral position. Maybe pause a moment. And let's set up for the other side. So let's bring the right leg in front and the left leg behind, either bent. You could possibly even feel it's lovely to turn away. So let's go right into it now. Or extend that back leg long. You can keep the heart lifted. You could lower the body. You can pop a pillow under the right hip. You could turn away to the right and get an extra twist in there. So there's nothing to say you can't do any of these very individual things. It's about you finding what works for you. And you'll know you have enough physical wisdom. We're not trying to be the same or achieve anything. This sense of uprising, like that breath, like that seasonal breath, the spring element, the rising up of possibility, of potential, of new life, new energy. Stay with your breath. And let your body release for one more minute.
Just be present, be here for one more minute. Maybe you emphasize that rising aspect of the breath while we're in springtime. Last 20 seconds. Could you let go a little bit more? And taking a lovely deep breath in. And a breath out. And once again, taking your time. So all our transitions, we maintain the practice. The part of the practice is how we get from one place to the other. As we lift ourselves up and then return your legs, come into a comfortable position that suits you. So the next sound we're going to make is awe, and this awe sound will send into the belly. So let's do that together. Inhale for awe, like pour. Awe. Now we're going to merge those two sounds. So on the breath, we're going to go from ooh into awe, back into ooh. So let's do one like that together. Inhale together. And by yourself, really, when you're making this sound, really feel whether you use the hand or not, that you're moving from the lower body, the colon, the reproductive organs, the ooh, sliding into the awe at the belly and back down to the ooh. So take one more go because I was talking then. So in your own time, inhaling and sounding. Lovely. Just pausing here for a moment. And then in the same way as when we were breathing, we were coming up through the rising of spring, the expansion of the summer. Let's bring our awareness to the heart space. That sense of expansion, the height of summer, the fire, the color red, the fullest moment. So to be in touch with our hearts today, we're going to take a very gentle child's pose. So for yourself, maybe again, you're going to use your cushion and rest your heart down. Maybe you're turning the head. Or maybe you're with the floor and the knees are narrower and more together. Anyway, find your position and rest your heart. Just you're resting, even though the fire element, the heart, is very much about activity. And sometimes we do poses that really use the strength of this area, the shoulders, the chest. The invitation in this practice at this moment is to soften this area, soften the heart. And be aware of the back of the heart. The back of your heart. So you might enjoy breathing very specifically to open up the back of your heart, expand. Really, really just enjoying that fullness, that feeling of the height of summer, the sun, the zenith. And the softening and letting go. So let's take a few deep breaths here, right into the back of the heart now. Feel that expansion. Just a couple of deep breaths here. And after your next exhalation, very slowly bring yourself back upright. And we're going to take the heart in the other direction now. So we can do this one arm at a time or both arms. So if you're taking it one arm at a time, take one arm in front and extend the other arm, and then let the head fall towards the bent arm and rest here. Now if you're taking two arms, I would suggest when we change arms, you might change head position, but let's start with the forehead down so the neck is long. But just softening this space between the heart, and it's up to you how deeply you melt the heart. So breathing here. So I will say when the half time is up, because some of us will be changing the arms, and others of us will still have both arms out, but we might experiment with changing whether the chin or the forehead is down. So we're melting Anahatasana. Anahata, the heart space. Releasing any tension in the heart, around the heart, moving the blood deliberately, charging the heart's energy, joy, peace, compassion, love, kindness. Let's stay here for another 20 seconds. Now, if both arms are out, you could experiment with taking the chin forward. If you have one arm out, let's change now. So we're folding the other arm back in, extending the other arm long, inhaling, and as we exhale, let the head lower down. And really feel that space around the shoulders melting. So if both arms are out, you might like to take the chin forward. And at any point, if that feels too intense, then you can return to tucking the chin. It just lifts that space between the shoulder blades a little bit more if you're on the forehead. If you're on the chin, be sure to have this sense that the pelvis has an energy of lifting away from the waist. There's not too much stress in the lower back, releasing the heart. We'll stay for another half minute, let it go. Last few breaths, we're here for another 15 seconds or so. So I'm going to suggest we come out of this and lie on our fronts. So allow yourself to just land on your front body. Now for some of us, we might have the forehead on the floor and have the neck long and the arms by the ears with the palms down. I'm going to suggest you experiment with the big toes being near each other and the heels flopping to release the lower back, and just having this sense of the front body is able to let go, melting the heart, the belly into the earth. If you've turned onto one ear, that's okay. We can turn the other way in a moment. And so that aspect of the height of summer, the sense of opening to this potential, to our expansion, we are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. We are opening, we are opening, we are opening. So you can stay resting on your front, or if you'd like to sound with me, we are opening up in sweet surrender. Then bring yourself to a position where you feel you can make a sound. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. If you're still lying out, gently bring yourself back to sitting. And bring your awareness to your heart. And now we're going to sound the vowel for the heart, which is ah. So let's inhale together. Ah. So we can take the tone a little bit lower if you like, because we're going to now go ooh or ah or ooh. So let's do that once together. Ooh.
of the awareness of the sound moving from the base to the belly to the heart. Have a go by yourself. I'll do one as well, actually. And rest. Come back to the breath, that cyclical breath, the rising, the expanding, and maybe to that little pause moment, that sense of stillness before the descent of the breath and the dropping and the returning back into the seed and the restoration and the potential. So I'm going to give a couple of options here because we're stimulating now through the quads, stimulating the stomach and spleen channels for the earth element, all about nourishment. Now, for some knees, this is totally unacceptable. We're going to do the saddle pose, which really does stimulate. So I'll come back to that in a minute. So if your knees really are not going to be happy, you'll still be stimulating this area by coming into your sphinx, which is whereby you can have your elbows as far front as you want, but you can bring them right under the armpits and stay here and really focus on the quads, the hip flexors. Otherwise, so let's start the counter now. Otherwise, let's take one leg back, the other leg forward. And again, you might like to take something behind you because we're going to start to lean back. So this could be nice to have a cushion behind you, or some of us like to go flat onto the floor. And some of us like to put the arms above. So find your position here where you feel that you're tugging through the quad, both of them if you're in your sphinx, or one of them, whichever one is bent. And let's just stay here for a few moments. So the spleen and stomach associated with this earth element of the late summer. Nourishment, like the harvest. So the stomach is the receiver of the nourishment and the spleen the transporter of the nourishment. So this can make us feel aware of all the nourishment we have in our lives and whether we are also allowing ourselves to be nourished, taking our nourishment, giving our own selves our nourishment. So you're on your belly in your sphinx if your knees are not going to enjoy this. Let's stay another half minute. Breathing in the nourishment, the receiving. Like when the harvest is in, so very gently, let's come back and change sides if you've got the leg bent. If you're in your sphinx, you may like to lift it up a little bit more, maybe keeping the shoulders down. You want to lift your elbows and feel that stretch still through the hip flexors. If that becomes too much, then you're going to lower the elbows again. So listen to your body. Otherwise, you've got one leg long, one leg bent, and you can take the body back as little or as much as you like. So allowing yourself to receive also, and then to be grateful. This is about abundance, that harvest time. What we harvest in our lives. Gratitude. So see how it feels maybe to take the body back, whether that stimulates through the hip flexors, quads a little bit more, stimulates and clears through the channels of the stomach and the spleen. And let's take another 15 seconds here, breathing deeply. Wonderful. So preparing yourself to come back up. So let's meet in sitting, whether you have been on your front or whether you've had one leg long or one leg back. And let's just sitting for a moment. We're not going to sound for this. We're going to allow ourselves to be still. And so letting the silence represent that stillness. So I'm not going to speak for another half a minute. We're still here. When you're ready, come back to the breath. The rising, the expanding, that still point. And now let's focus on that descent. The letting go, the autumn. The leaves are falling. It's time to let go. We're moving our awareness into the lungs and the large intestine. So let's do a little seated twist. We're going to extend the legs out. Let's take the left foot across. And we're going to turn the lungs to the left. So you choose. You might like to wrap, you might like to lever, you might like to thread. So coming into your position, we're just going to take a minute or so in our twist. This is the metal element. In this philosophy, everything is made from these elements. The wood, that's plant, vegetable, the fire, the earth, the water, and metal. So squeezing and massaging your lungs. It's associated with grief and sadness when we get caught in our lungs. Allowing that flow, and the large intestines, the absorption of our experiences, of our food. Let's take a few more breaths in this direction. Maybe you move the head a little bit to release the neck. So all is available. Let's inhale together and exhale slowly. Let the breastbone revolve round to face forward, and then change the leg position, extending the left leg, picking up the right leg and placing the foot down, and then moving the chest to our right, hugging, levering, whatever feels right for you. And feel what's going on through your lungs, through the colon, breathing here. We are, of course, deliberately making a bit of a restriction as well, so that we are clearing this area.
Keep breathing, keep your focus. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, release your arm and let the chest revolve back to face forward, extending your right leg. You can stay with the legs extended or you can bend them up. So sound-wise, let's focus into the throat. And the sound is air, like a pen. Inhaling. So we're going to thread all the sounds now. Let's do one together. Let's do another one. Inhaling. And rest. So from our autumn, we're returning back into our winter. And for this, we're going to fold forward again. So I could suggest that we bring soles of the feet together, take the hands somewhere along the lower leg and just round out for a moment and enjoy that opening of the back body. And then very gently start to fold forward. So for some of us, we'll stay a bit more upright. For some of us, the face will come nearer the feet. All good. And again, we've got our lovely cushions that we've taken, so we might feel, oh, it's nice not to let the head dangle. It's nice to feel that support. This is a wonderful thing to have that support. So returning this cycle, how we started, going back into the winter. Allowing yourself to drop back under the earth, like the seed. Just waiting for the right time, accepting. It's not all in bloom all the year round. There's a cycle, there's a process. It's part of the oneness, part of the whole. And however little we acknowledge this in our lives, it's very healing and helpful. In our 24-hour lives with electricity and all the rest of it, we can get a little bit disassociated from the cycles. And keep pushing and pushing. There's a time to rest, a time to restore. And let's take another few moments here. So be with your breath. And if you wish to sigh your breath out at any moment, that's also good. So when you're ready, lift your body up just enough so you can slip onto your back and back into your resting position. So we can be here for a few minutes, so you might like to take your blanket. And some of us might start to stay longer. I will be
starting a chant after a few minutes, which I'll invite you to join in with, or just be listening, whatever feels right. But for now, make yourself comfortable so you can drop back into the earth the way we began, surrendering. Yeah, make any movements that you need to make. This is a good idea. Take your time to be comfortable, even if we're just here for 3-4 minutes. You want the mind to keep its focus on simply being. So releasing now. And as always, choosing the leg position. If it feels good to extend your legs, go ahead. If it feels better to have the legs bent, do that. You want to now feel that the whole back surface of your body, your back, is being held by the earth, and how we started with this scan through our body, returning to that sense of observing. Just feeling those places of contact that the back surface of your body is making with your floor, with the earth, and inviting yourself to surrender a little bit more. Back into the winter. To recharge yourself, to reflect, to conserve. The aspect of the winter. And including in your rest the aspect, the quality of spring, the growth, the rising, and the quality of the summer, bearing fruit, vibrant, warm, hearty. And that quality of abundance of the late summer, the harvest. That still point at the top of the rise before the fall. And then the autumn, the time to let go. So we can prepare for this deep rest, and after which are the new beginnings. Just opening to the full cycle. So you can stay resting. We're going to be chanting the healing mantra. Ra, ma, da, sa, se, so, hum. Sun, moon, earth, infinity. We are one with infinity, forever and always. So this sense of wholeness and oneness is the power of this healing mantra. So I'm going to chant it a couple of times. You can bring yourself into seating, or you can stay resting.
you're joining in with this mantra, it's very nice to take the hands maybe to an area of your body that you would like to give some special attention to. Or you can turn the hands towards you, the palms towards you, to receive the healing energy. Or you can turn the palms away and direct the healing energy outwards. It can be specific, it can be to the planet, whatever feels right. So we'll just do this for a couple of minutes. Join in when you're ready. Ramadasa Sase Soham Ramadasa Sase Soham Ramadasa Sase Soham Ramadasa Sase Soham Taking a very deep breath in, holding your breath, sending that healing energy to every cell of your body as you exhale. And again, taking a very deep breath in, holding the breath. And now, as you exhale, sending out that healing energy to the planet, to those in need, to whoever you've been thinking of, sending that healing energy. Lovely. And resting here. So, let's bring our hands to the heart. Take a nice deep inhalation. And as we exhale, bowing the head.